on What's New, it's the end of an era. The IX Center, as we know it, announces it's closing for good today. We'll tell you what's new for the iconic location, and we give you a chance to share your memories. And we have some breaking news. One school takes an entire grade level to virtual learning after a positive coronavirus case.
You know, all the work that they've put in, now they have a chance to go play.
And we will have Ohio State football after all this fall. Jimmy Donovan joins us to tell us how it happened and what we should expect from Ohio State. COVID vaccine plan. The federal government lays out who will get it first and the possible complications still left to sort out. And fall on your front porch. From pumpkins to lanterns to corn, layering, lots of it is the key. We have some affordable ideas to make your front porch look like autumn. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And a very good hello again to Northeast Ohio. I hope you're having a terrific Wednesday afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing What's New. Alongside Romney Smith, who is in for Betsy again, I'm Jay Crawford. Romney, a very happy hump day to you.
Absolutely. It's a three-peat. I like being here 3 days in a row, Jay, and we have some big stories today. In fact, the big regional story, the IX Center. After 35 years, it's closing. And when we think of the IX Center, we all probably think of this.
So fun. What a great place to meet someone. Party on till after dark at the IX Indoor Amusement Park.
That's the jingle that never leaves your head, really. The IX Center is where so many of our favorite events are held each year, but the pandemic brought all of the events to a screeching halt. Our Brandon Simmons is live outside the center now. Brandon, what else have you learned about this?
Yeah, hi, Romney. This is another casualty of the coronavirus pandemic. As you just said, we know a lot of industries were hit hard, but none quite like the event industry, also the live entertainment industries, which took very big hits, of course, being closed since March. Now, in a statement, the IX Center Corporation said it has been decimated by the pandemic, just like many other businesses, and that's what ultimately led to this decision. Now, they've been successfully operating the facility for the last 35 years, hosting more than 2 million guests each year, but this year is obviously different, where they've been closed for months. Now, the natural question, of course, is what do you do with a building and a piece of property this size? Now, to be clear, the way this deal works is that the IX Center Corporation sort of manages everything under this lease, but the property and the building itself are actually owned by the city of Cleveland. So in this case, Romney, it's the city of Cleveland that ultimately makes the decision about what happens next.
So that begs the question, has the city actually said anything about what the future holds?
You know what? Our sources tell us that the city has actually been in contact with the operators for over a month about this particular situation. But oddly today, we haven't heard anything on the record from the city about what happens next. Now, obviously, this property is known to host some of the area's largest events, including the auto show, the home and garden show, and other larger events. Now, it is the biggest space in Cleveland and really does have an impact on the local economy. Now, there are plenty of other options for the future. The city could find a new tenant to sort of take over operations. They could sell off the property, which I think is probably the least likely to happen. And of course, they could also use this property to expand the airport, which was the original plan when they purchased this property back in 1999. But again, we haven't heard anything officially from the city, so we're not sure exactly what their plan is just yet. That's something we'll just have to wait and see, Ron.
Absolutely. Brandon, thank you. We also have some breaking news that I was able to confirm earlier this afternoon. A student has tested positive for COVID-19 at a Willoughby Eastlake school, and now the district is taking immediate action to keep other students and staff members safe. The student is a sixth grader at the Willoughby Eastlake School of Innovation. There are 75 sixth grade students at the school, and the district informed parents this afternoon that they had to all learn remotely. I spoke with the superintendent a couple of times today, and he explained why it was necessary to ask all sixth graders to learn from home.
They work in groups and work collaboratively. They are probably more than you might see in a traditional school, so that is what prompted us to move on the whole sixth grade. But it's our sixth grade and our sixth grade staff, so they are moving to virtual tomorrow.
The School of Innovation is a smaller school with a max of 75 students per grade, and that is students in third grade through eighth grades. The district says right now it's working on contact tracing. I'll have even more on this developing story tonight at 6 o'clock. Jay?
Romney, now on to your feet at 5. Ohio State football fans got the news they have been waiting for all fall season. Today, they found out the conference will indeed stage a football season. How about that news? Let's bring in 3 News sports anchor Jimmy Donovan. Okay, Jimmy, so we will have Big Ten football. How did we get there, and how will this work?
You know, Jay, I really think Ohio State was the driving force in how they got there, because Ohio State really, along with the University of Nebraska, was the most vocal school, and that went all the way down the line. I mean, it really went with their head football coach, Ryan Day, Gene Smith, their athletic director to some degree, and their quarterback, Justin Fields. The pressure really was turned on by Ohio State to have the Big Ten reconsider that first ruling that they weren't going to play football this season. And so now it's all turned around. The constant pressure and the fact that other college football programs and conferences have gotten underway. That was tough for the Big Ten to watch. Now the specifics. We will have Big Ten football. It will start on October 23rd and 24th. By the end of this week, they will release a new schedule, and we know where they're going to go. They'll have an 8-game regular season, and then each team in the Big Ten will play a 9th game too. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. The Big Ten championship game will be played on December 19th. That will be the top team in the East, number 1, versus number 1 in the West. And then on down the line on that 9th week, the second team in the East will play the second team in the West and all the way through the conference. But they will have a Big Ten champion and a Big Ten championship game. And down in Columbus, they're thrilled.
That's what 2020's been. It's just a time of uncertainty. It hasn't been easy for anybody. But I just, to be able to look these guys in the eye and let them know that they have an opportunity to play and that their fight, they have something to show for it now. You know, all the work that they've put in, now they have a chance to go play.
Now, teams and universities have been having football practices going on in different varies of ways, but they have had the football programs going on, and so that will be stepped up. Jay, I think it was very, very difficult for Ohio State and the rest of the Big Ten to watch as, at least in Ohio, high school football is being played. And then on the college level, they watched Notre Dame play Duke this past Saturday in the ACC. Clemson played Wake Forest. A week from this Saturday, the SEC will be back in business, and they're going to play. And now you wonder, will the Pac-12 get what the Big Ten is getting right now, get a revote in their conference and bring their football back? I know there's a lot of pressure out at the University of Southern California to get that done, too. So that's where we are. It's coming back in October.
So, Jimmy, all of the Midwest schools, and particularly Ohio State, because they are stacked this season, so they're cheering.
Yeah.
But you've got to think that Clemson out of the ACC and some of these other power programs are a little concerned now that they've got Ohio State back in the mix. Will Ohio State, and do we even know at this point, will they be considered for the football playoffs at the end of the season? Because they are starting a little bit later. Do we even know that yet?
Not officially, but I think the plan is that, yes, they will. And the fact of the matter is that they've turned their calendar, Jay, and made sure that they can get the 9-game season in and that they will have a Big Ten champion. They will crown that champion on December 19th. The following day, the college football playoff selection show will be held. And so, yeah, I think the Big Ten is comfortable with the fact that they will be invited into the tent at that point in time. And Ohio State realizes, as they look at their roster, they should be right there.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy, it's really interesting because when the Big Ten made this decision, it really felt like they were going to be on the front edge of a wave that was going to extend across college football. Within a matter of hours, the Pac-12 followed, and they said, we too will cancel our fall season. And then as they sat back and watched, the other power conferences did not cancel their season. You also had, and you mentioned this a little bit, you also had an incredible amount of pressure coming from within Ohio State, including from its quarterback, to get this on. Perhaps one of the messages here to everybody is maybe you can fight City Hall after all.
I think you're right. I think Justin Fields had accumulated so many signatures to get this thing turned around, Jay, he could run for president.
Very interesting time. Jimmy, thank you very much. I know Buckeye fans across the state are thrilled with the idea of finally getting to see Ohio State back out there in the 2020 season. We'll see you at 6 o'clock. I'm sure we'll have more on this story then.
Thanks, Jay.
You bet. There is big news tonight on the coronavirus daily numbers as it pertains to the positivity rate. We're going to get to that in a second. But first, we start how we always do, and that's with the number of new cases. And today, the number reported slightly up from yesterday, 1,033. That's a jump of 32. But here's the big news. It is that all-important positivity rate. That's the number that gives us the idea on how this virus is spreading throughout our state. The number that you see there is the number of positive tests per 100, and that number of 2.4 is by far the lowest daily positivity rate since this pandemic began. You can compare that to our highest rate, which was 36% all the way back in the month of April. Hospitalizations also down from yesterday. 19 fewer COVID-19 patients statewide. Now it's 651. Deaths also down from yesterday's huge number of 87. There were 49 new deaths recorded in today's report. Well, packing powerful winds but moving painfully slow, Hurricane Sally finally made landfall today, bringing with it torrential rains and certain flooding. NBC's Jay Gray joins us live now from Mobile, Alabama. Jay, how are things looking right there right now, at least weather-wise?
Yeah, Jay, we're on the west side of the storm, so we're not seeing the flooding rains that they're seeing on the east side. We're just getting a bit of a sprinkle right now, and it's given us a chance to take a look at some of the damage. I want you to see this. We're in Bienville Square, the park in the middle of downtown Mobile. These huge oak trees, these huge magnolias that survived Hurricane Ivan, survived Hurricane Katrina, brought down by Sally here. And unfortunately, this is a scene playing out really across the entire city. We've seen trees on homes here, driving through the downtown area. You've got businesses that have just been ravaged. Debris through front windows. You've got awnings that are ripped down and scattered across the downtown area. And across the strike zone, that's something you're going to continue to see. Now, on the east side, it's the water doing the most damage. Storm surge really affecting those lower coastal communities, and driving rains that are still falling in some areas, over 2 feet of rain. Wow. And that's causing tremendous flooding that's going to continue, Jay, because the creeks, the rivers, all of the escape valves for that water are already full, and water continues to pour in. So flooding is going to be an issue for the next couple of days. Last thing, power outages. Here in Mobile, you've got 175,000 or so without power. When you stretch that out to the entire area affected by Sally, close to 500,000. It's going to be a rough ride for the next few days here, Jay, at least.
It certainly is. One characteristic of this storm that was a little odd in that it packed a big punch with winds and rain, but it was such a slow-moving storm. At one point, it was virtually sitting still. Yeah. Do we know, Jay, how long it's going to be before the storm itself, not the rain and the flooding that it'll leave behind, but before the storm itself will be out of the Gulf Coast region?
It's going to take some time, 5 miles an hour now, and that's more than double what it was as it came ashore. So that tells you how slow it was moving. It's downgraded to a tropical depression, but still causing problems. I think it'll take the next 24 hours to totally clear the Gulf area, but it's still going to be raining. It's still going to cause some problems until it finally leaves along the East Coast.
All right, incredible visual. 2 feet of rain in some spots. That's thigh high. That much rain in a short period of time. Jay Gray, live tonight from Mobile, Alabama. Jay, stay well, be safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Well, one-on-one with the new bishop of the Cleveland Catholic Diocese. Bishop Edward Malesic sits down for an exclusive interview with our Russ Mitchell about his vision for our area's 700,000 Catholics.
Touchdown, Chris Olave, butter!
Hey, look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
The NFL is in action, and now it's time to get hyped for OSU, the new video that will get you ready for some Big Ten football.
And let's check in with Matt for the first time this hour to see what's coming up in the forecast. Hi, Matt.
Hey Jay, today was the final day of some of that smoky haze. We have a cold front coming in tomorrow morning. May give us a few showers. We'll have the details coming up.
That's high. It's crazy. Sure, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Bishop Malesic has only been in Cleveland a little more than a week. Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot.
Welcome back. There's a new bishop of the Diocese of Cleveland. Bishop Edward Malesic was installed Monday to the prominent position in the Catholic Church. He sat down with our main anchor, Russ Mitchell, for his first one-on-one interview since his installation. Russ, if I had to guess, I'm thinking he's probably pretty excited about this new post.
That'd be a good guess. He certainly is. He has only been in Cleveland a little more than a week. And then our exclusive interview, he says he's got a lot of names, faces, and parishes to learn. We had a wide-ranging discussion today as we try to learn more about the man who now leads almost 700,000 Northeast Ohio Catholics. You, in your homily, talked about the vision. You said you're asked all the time, what is your vision? And you have said that your vision is to communicate the gospel to people. Given that, how would you describe your style? How do you do that?
How do you do that? By being myself, by talking to people, by listening to as many people as it's possible to do, by going out and learning what's going on in our parishes, what's going on in our cities, which we have more cities in our diocese than Cleveland, but just getting out and about. The vision is really given to me by the gospel. The vision is given to me by God, and the vision of God is to go out and preach this good news, and for the purpose of salvation. We're all headed towards heaven. We want to get to heaven. We want to find that place of peace and contentment, and we want to bring a piece of that here too in our own communities now.
Tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to hear more about what his predecessor, now Philadelphia Archbishop Nelson Perez, told him about Cleveland. And I asked him how much he expects to get hands-on involved in issues facing Cleveland and the world. And at 11 o'clock, Romney, he gives his hopes for himself and Cleveland. Also, I asked him the toughest question he'll receive all day: Browns or Steelers?
Ooh.
He is from the Pittsburgh area, so an interesting answer he gave us.
Oh, he only has one option there, Russ. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's called an effective tease. I wait with bated breath. All right, Matt Wintz covering for Betsy tonight at 6 o'clock. So today we get to chat again with our newest meteorologist. His name is Matt Standridge. If you haven't seen him yet, he's a upstanding and terrific young weathercaster who brings a lot of energy to the show. Matt, I got to tell you, it was a beautiful day outside today. I'm going to give it like a 5-star day. It was gorgeous.
Wow, it really was. I know we still had some of the haze, but we barely had any clouds out there. It was a little bit warmer. There was a south wind. But Jay, you asked a really good question yesterday about the sun and why is it looking weird? You did.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I remember that.
I wanted to dive deeper into it for you a little bit. And it has to do with the smoke and the color. You were asking about earlier how it looked more just kind of like a floating light in the middle of the day and it looks really red at night. But I want to explain that kind of why. It's more of a physics question rather than a meteorological one, but let's take a look at it. So this is a picture of what it looked like just outside the Cuyahoga County Courthouse earlier this afternoon. You see how it's just kind of floating there, the sun, it looks blurry. Well, when the sun gets a little bit lower in the sky, it hurts more of that smoke. And look at this diagram. I found it from the Aviation Weather Center. It's a government agency. And you know the sunlight goes right through that smoke and it actually scatters away the blue. It scatters the purple and the green. And so all we're left with is that red and orange. And that's why it looks so red, much redder than it normally would. And it's all thanks to that smoke. So it's just really kind of a cool illusion. Tonight will be the last time you're going to see it for the next couple of days because the smoke's going to be headed on out of here. Some folks excited about that. So this is what we're tracking. It's still going to be a hazy evening out there, but to be honest, it is a nice one. A lot of us have gotten in the 70s, feels good, but there's going to be a cold front tomorrow morning. It's going to give us more clouds, maybe even a stray shower, and it's also going to clear out that smoke. Also, big update, Tropical Storm Sally continues to move northeast now at 7 miles per hour, so a little bit faster, but the official time it hit the Gulf Coast, 5:45 our time, it was 4:45 their time, with winds 105 miles per hour. A lot of folks have already picked up over 20 inches. So let's take a look at the wide view. You see Tropical Storm Sally still hitting the southeast, the Gulf Coast. That'll be headed more eastbound away from Ohio, but there's that cold front. And there's that cold front that's going to clear out the haze and clear out some of the humidity and also knock down our temperatures a bit. Right now we have a south wind. We're in the 70s. It feels pretty nice. We'll dip into the 50s and 60s overnight. So tomorrow headed out towards the lakeshore. It might be a little bit windier as that front rolls through, waves a little bit higher too. There's the front on our National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. So as we head throughout your morning tomorrow, it's going to be cloudy. Watch out for maybe a few sprinkles. I do think by the afternoon we'll start to clear out and get a little bit more sunshine. But because of that front pulling through, Jay, it's going to be a lot cooler for the rest of the week, but the humidity will be lower too. Honestly, the weather's looking kind of sleepy the next several days. The smoke, though, may start to return next week. But until then, things are quiet.
All right, Matt, thanks.
The show goes on!
Oh, this is so good. If it doesn't make you feel something, you might want to check your pulse. The new Ohio State hype video that will definitely get you ready for college football.
We should just play the whole thing, Jay.
It's so good.
And who says dogs can't fly? A dog determined to make it over a fence. Well, we'll show you how this ends. It's in today's Worth the Watch.
Hello, yes I am. With the IX Center closing, many people have been sharing their memories with us, Romney. Okay.
Hi. Hello, hello, hello. There's a lot to unpack here. The plan calls for a vaccination campaign to begin gradually in January or possibly even later this year.
Welcome back. It is time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, a lot of people understandably upset after learning that the IX Center is closing.
Yes, Romney, the IX Center is an institution here, so today is a day to reminisce. People have been sharing their memories with us. Kevin Milletti texted us these photos of his monster truck setting up for the Piston Power Show. These are some of the last photos taken inside because the IX Center got shut down by the governor before they could actually open the doors on this event in the spring. Now, Lynn Mitchell called it the go-to place for big events, and she's been to them all. The food show, the free art show, shows for RVs, quilts, and motorcycles, of course. She said the list goes on and on. And if it wasn't for the Christmas connection at the IX Center, Laura Radacci-Reed would have never found Bandy, her beautiful retired racing greyhound, adopted from Erie Shore's Greyhound Adoption of Ohio. So many great memories. We have more, including that famous jingle on WKYC.com. Now, there has been a lot of excitement today about the upcoming announcement of the Big Ten fall football season, including from President Donald Trump, who took credit for it. He tweeted today, "Great news, Big Ten football is back. It is my great honor to have helped." He was referring to a call with Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren, but sports reporter Britt Johnson from The Fumble pointed out that Warren didn't vote on when the Big Ten would start the fall season. It was up to the leaders at the universities. She tweeted, "Stop patting yourself on the back. You literally did nothing." Ohio State football is definitely ready to do something, though. Check out this hype video that they tweeted out today. The video is everything. It's quite the supercut with scenes from The Wolf of Wall Street, of course, Frankenstein, The Hangover, spliced in with classic Ohio State game moments. We have the full video on WKYC.com to check it out. Romney, I know we've got that poll up on WKYC.com. I don't know if it's the right move to start the fall sports, but it is impossible not to be amped up after watching that video.
Exactly. I think I'm going to watch it every day for the next few days just to get ready for work, to give me hype. Thanks, Stephanie.
It is now time for our Worth the Watch. Romney, I found this on Instagram a couple of days ago. Check this out. The dog wants to be on the other side of the fence.
Whoa!
So what does he do? He activates his hind spring legs and watch the tail.
It's almost vertical.
Watch the tail is swirling like a propeller on a helicopter to help thrust him over that fence. That's an unbelievable jump.
You just got to wonder if he learned that from another dog or if that was just natural inclination.
Pretty crazy. Some of these dogs are so athletically gifted.
I know.
Pretty amazing, really. Okay, straight ahead in the next half hour of What's New, Ohio State football is a go. We're going to talk to a local doctor to see what shortened training camp could mean for the players' health. And it's basically fall outside, which means it's time to break out all those autumn decorations for your front porch. If you're not quite sure how to make it look like one of the best on the block, stay with us. We've got some experts with a very easy blueprint on how to make it pop. And speaking of pop, ahead in Pop Break, where has Madonna been? We have all the details on what she's been up to when What's New comes right back. Stay with us.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Good evening. I'm Laura Queso. A new CDC report shows very few kids
1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We're halfway to Friday, halfway through today's edition of What's New. Welcome back to the program. I'm Jay Crawford, Romney Smith, in for Betsy Kling again today. Romney, I know this is your Friday.
It is.
On into your weekend. Any fun plans for your couple of days off?
Yes, I'm actually finally going to do the Asian Lantern Festival.
Oh,
I've heard
nice.
it's absolutely amazing. So I'm looking forward to that and probably going out to eat somewhere because I'm always hungry. That's it. Pretty simple.
Very good. Well, enjoy your Thursday, Friday, your Saturday, Sunday, but I know it's Thursday, Friday.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, let's get to today's top talker, shall we? The Big Ten is, in fact, today's top talker. After a bunch of drama, the Big Ten voted to start football next month. So we want to know what you think about that decision. Weigh in at WKYC.com/vote now.
And you can see that's 55% say yes, 45% say no. Here's what we know so far. The season will start the weekend of October 23rd and 24th. That's a little more than 5 weeks away. They'll play an 8-game regular season, and then each team will play another team from the opposing division at the end of the year. And here's something that's interesting about this. Athletes, coaches, trainers, and all others who are on the field will be tested daily with that antigen test. So that's very important to keep in mind. Romney, their training season has been anything but normal, though, because remember, in August, they were gearing up for the season, and that's when we reported that the Big Ten was not going to have a season. And at that time, the players weren't wearing pads in practice. Now they're ramping up for games in a little more than a month. Wow. And we asked Dr. Michael Salata, who's the director of the Sports Medicine Institute at University Hospitals, if he thinks that this could actually play a role in more injuries this season. Listen.
Yeah, I think that in general, when we're heading back to a contact sport like football, there is like an acclimatization period that most teams will undergo, and I assume that'll happen also in the Big Ten, which is probably why they're delaying the start until kind of end of October to give them time to transition from doing, kind of non-padded workouts to padded workout. Obviously, anytime you have an abbreviated kind of camp or preseason, there is always some risk of injury. And I think, all of the physicians and the medical staffs and the athletic training staffs at those institutions, I'm sure, are going to try and do everything they can to minimize those injuries.
Absolutely. So, Jay, also when it comes to spreading COVID-19, Dr. Salata says there's always some risk, but the new point of contact testing has made it easier to track down who the players or other members of the team have come into contact with, just in case someone were to test positive. So it's great that contact tracing is going on, because if they have a positive case, they need to be able to know exactly who to notify so that they can then get tested.
And we can see that the numbers haven't changed. It's still 55% of the folks think, yes, the Big Ten should move ahead and play football here in October. It's interesting to see how in the span of about a month, maybe a little more, public sentiment on this question has changed, because when we asked it back in August, overwhelmingly folks thought, no, it's not safe, don't do it. Now remember, after that happened, the Pac-12 immediately canceled their season, but that's where the cancellations ended. High school football is going on. All of the other major power conferences in college football are going on. So it did make the Big Ten look a little out of place when they made the decision to cancel it.
Agreed.
And you can see public sentiment is starting to swing towards, let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what happens.
The public has influence, certainly.
Yeah, there's no question they do. All right, it is 3 minutes past the bottom of the hour right now. Time to check in with Laura Queso for the other top stories making headlines. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Jay. Well, let's get to it. A new CDC report shows very few children are dying from coronavirus. However, the vast majority of children dying from COVID-19 are Hispanic, Black, or Native American. The report found that 121 children have died from the virus here in the U.S. But of those deaths, let's break it down. 54 were Black, 35 were Hispanic, and 17 were white. The CDC says one of the key reasons is that these kids more likely live with adults who are essential workers who could be exposed on the job. Right now, Vice President Mike Pence is in Zanesville to speak at a Workers for Trump rally at the Zanesville Aviation Airport. He's expected to highlight the president's record on American jobs. The event is open to the public, but only to those with a ticket. Those who requested one had to waive any liability for the risk of COVID-19. And if you're driving down West 25th Street near Church, you'll see this temporary mural to the life of Breonna Taylor. The message reads, "Value life like she did." Taylor was killed by police during a raid at her Louisville home last spring. Her family reached a $12 million settlement with the city just yesterday that also called for police reform. Jay?
All right, Laura, thanks. We will see you in 25 minutes. Top of the hour at 6 o'clock with What Matters Most.
That's right.
Romney?
Well, the federal government says the new COVID-19 vaccine is available and it will be free to the public. The CDC unveiled a new distribution plan today on who gets it first and how. Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, joins us to explain. Good afternoon.
Hi, Romney. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. No, the vaccine is not available right now, but the plan calls for a vaccination campaign to begin gradually in January or possibly later this year once a vaccine is approved. Now, the first to get it will be healthcare workers, essential employees, and other vulnerable groups such as nursing homes and prisons. State and local communities have 1 month to submit plans for receiving and distributing vaccines, which may require refrigeration or freezing, so they have to make sure they have that capability. Officials say the goal is to have vaccines moving to immunization sites within 24 hours of approval. But should you worry about getting a vaccine that took just months instead of years to become available?
The FDA is not going to let a vaccine through that hasn't at least been tested thoroughly enough to make sure it doesn't have bad side effects. Come December sometime, I think we'll find a vaccine or 2 or 3 that are really good and effective and don't have side effects. And I think probably in early 21 is when we're going to see, mass vaccination be possible.
So another important factor is most vaccines will require 2 doses, 21 to 28 days apart. Both doses will have to come from the same drug maker. And we're still waiting to see if more than one vaccine becomes available and if they'll be distributed regionally so someone doesn't risk getting 2 different types from 2 different makers. And the government will pay for these vaccines, syringes, and other equipment needed to disperse. However, there could be administration fees added by doctors' offices, clinics, and pharmacies that should be covered by insurance, Medicaid, or federal funding. But federal officials say the worst case, it could cost under $4 a shot, but they're still working out the details. Hopefully, it will just be free for all of us, Romney.
We would hope so. And Monica, I want to thank you again for clarifying. The script said they had it. We want to make sure everyone knows it's not out yet. It's when it comes out. Also, Monica, when I worked in pharmaceutical sales, I know that with research and development, sometimes with a new product, there's an adverse reaction, which leads to lawsuits. With this vaccine, what if someone wants to sue the drug company?
Adverse reactions must be reported to the CDC. However, but on the final pages of that rollout plan, it does indicate liability immunity for not only the drug manufacturers, but also for those who give the vaccine. So it's unlikely anybody will be able to sue if they do suffer a negative reaction. But if in case it does happen, I'm sure some lawyer is going to try.
I'm sure that'll happen. Thank you, Monica. Well, still ahead on What's New. Madonna's been out of the spotlight lately, but we found out what she's been up to.
And Matt Standridge is in for Matt Wintz today. Matt, what's going on outside?
Yeah, Jay, we have some big weather changes on the way. A cold front's coming in tonight, early into tomorrow morning. It's going to drop the temperature big time. We'll have your forecast coming up. Yep, still got you.
Time to get another check on the weather. Matt Standridge joins us now again. Hey, Matt, I mentioned this earlier. Can't say it enough because I think we're running out of days like we had today. But, wow, 2 thumbs up all the way around.
Can't beat it. You gave it 5 stars last time. It's
Yeah.
a 5-star review.
It was a great day.
That's
It really
crazy.
was.
It was. So, Jay, today was pretty warm, too. A lot of us got well into the 70s. It felt nice. Yeah, it was hazy, but at least we had a lot of sun, too, right? Well, there's a cold front coming in tonight, early into tomorrow morning. We're still going to have a lot of sunshine the next couple days because it's going to be a lot cooler. So when you're headed out and about, you may want to bring that jacket compared to probably didn't need it as much today. Also, big weather news. You're hearing it, seeing it on the national news, of course, as Tropical Storm Sally. I want to give you the latest on what's going on right now. It is now further inland in Alabama. It made official landfall at 5:45 our time, 4:45 Pensacola and Florida and Alabama time, with winds 105 miles per hour. The problem has been just the slow speed. Now it's picked up some miles per hour. Now it's at 7 miles per hour, but a lot of folks along the coast picked up between 20 to over 25 inches of rain in about a day. To put that in perspective, here in Ohio, for the next 3 months, for the rest of 2020, we should only pick up about 10 inches. So they picked up double what Ohio should get for the rest of the year in one day. There's some very heavy rainfall rates. Here's what we're tracking, though, here at home. We're not tracking much rain chances, or many rain chances, but rather a lot of haze this evening. It's going to be a nice evening, temperatures in the 70s. As we head, though, towards tomorrow morning, a cold front's going to arrive. It probably will be pretty cloudy on your Thursday morning, maybe even a stray shower. But that cold front's going to come through and clear us out from the clouds, clear us out from the haze, and also drop our temperatures quite a bit. Here's a wide view of what's going on with satellite and radar. A lot of rain towards the south and the southeast near the Gulf Coast with Tropical Storm Sally, but we're noticing the cold front towards our north. That thing's going to swing through tomorrow morning, cleaning us out of the atmosphere. You see some of the clouds kind of brushing overhead right now over Cleveland and Akron, and we still have a lot of that haze from that wildfire smoke, but that's going to be all cleared out tomorrow morning. So if you want to see that cool sunset, tonight would probably be the last night to do it. Official sunset just a little bit after 7 o'clock. But like Jay said, it's been a great day. We're in the 70s still, 73 in Mansfield, 71 in Elyria. As you head out this evening, a lot of us dipping into the 60s, maybe a few 50s early tomorrow morning, but it's going to be windy tomorrow out of the northwest just because of the cold front that's coming through. Waves will be a little bit higher on Lake Erie. There's a cold front on your National Design More hour-by-hour forecast. We're just going to be a lot cooler tomorrow overall. I think we're only going to top out in the 60s thanks to a lot of the clouds. We may start to break up some of the clouds tomorrow later into the evening hours, and then it's just going to be a lot cooler the next couple of days. Things pretty quiet on your Universal Windows Direct forecast. 65, that's the high tomorrow compared to that's 10 degrees cooler than we were today. The rest of the week, we're going to slowly rebound, but overall pretty sleepy weather across Northeast Ohio.
All right, sunny weekend, just a little chilly. We'll make it work. Matt, thanks. We'll see you soon. Romney?
All right, it is that time to get you caught up on what's happening in the entertainment world. Here's Laura Queso with today's Pop Break.
Cardi B is now Cardi-free. The singer and rapper has filed for divorce from her husband of 3 years, Migos rapper Offset. According to multiple outlets, Cardi was fed up with Offset's alleged cheating throughout their relationship, and according to the divorce papers, Cardi says the marriage is irretrievably broken and there are no prospects for a reconciliation. The couple just recently purchased a $6 million home in Atlanta, but hey, divorce is expensive. They may have to sell it to offset some of the costs. Madonna is making sure that she has full creative control over her own life story. The singer is currently co-writing a biopic on her own life, and she'll direct the film too. And if you have any doubts over Madonna's ability to write a good story, don't worry, because her co-writer is Juno creator and director Diablo Cody. No word on when it will debut, but we have a feeling this might be one to watch. And everyone knows that Paris Hilton was an icon on The Simple Life, alongside best friend Nicole Richie. But apparently, the heiress could have been on our screens for a different show, too. Hilton sat down with Andy Cohen and Jenna Bush Hager on a recent episode of Watch What Happens Live and answered a fan's question regarding the age-old rumor that she was asked to be on The Hills.
Yes, I did say no to it a ton of times.
Yikes. We'll see, as most of the cast from The Hills now can't even stand to be in the same room. We think she made the right choice with that one.
Okay, Jay, normally we talk about one of those stories, but I have some breaking pop news to share
good,
with you.
okay.
Saturday Night Live revealed who's going to play presidential candidate Joe Biden. Any guesses?
Ooh, wow. No, I'm sure as soon as you tell me who it is, it'll be an obvious choice, but I don't know.
It is Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah, I can see him being Biden. I can see that happening very easily.
I'm so ready for that. I feel like Maya's all ready to pay Kamala. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I can't wait. It should be very fun the rest of the election season. Okay, Romney, thank you very much. Tomorrow night at First Energy Stadium, don't forget the Browns are going to welcome in the Cincinnati Bengals. It's their home opener after a disappointing season opener. Earlier today, I sat down with former Browns quarterback Tim Couch to get his thoughts on Game 1 and where his team is headed. We're going to have that exclusive interview tomorrow right here on What's New. I asked him a couple of things, Romney. I asked him if it's too soon to hit the panic button. His answer was very interesting. Also, I asked him why Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. can't seem to get on the same page. All of that coming up tomorrow on What's New. Still ahead on today's show, if you want your porch popping for the upcoming fall season, and who doesn't, we have the makeover plans that will make it easy.
And celebrities are freezing their social media accounts for 24 hours. We'll tell you why and if it will really make a difference.
And it's time for your pop quiz. Which of these NBC sitcoms made its TV debut on this day in 1993? Was it Friends, Will and Grace, or Frasier? Think about it. We'll give you the answer after the break. All right, Romney, you had a couple minutes to think about it. Any idea which one debuted back in 1993 on this day?
Nope, so I'm just going to pick Will and Grace because that's my favorite of those three.
All right, it is Frasier.
Okay, I should have guessed that.
Back on this day in 1993. Well, it is so hard to believe that we're already in the third week of September. So, ready or not, it's time to start decorating for fall. And our friends from Ashley Clark Interior Design Group are here now to show us how to make our fall front porch the envy of our block.
Our first thing that we'd like to point out are corn stalks. They are a great way to add some height and vertical decorations to your exterior. You can tie them with burlap or ribbon to your mailbox posts, or just lean them on either side of the front door like we did here.
We also added these fall little leaves to add some color.
Color is so cute.
We added them to our wreath.
Yes, we just kind of spaced them throughout the entire front porch just to bring that theme throughout. As always, our other key to getting a good look is layering. So we layered. So think of
so
basically,
much layering.
Yes, think of like a triangle here. So you're going to want to start at the top. We did a nice stand for the mums, and then we just kind of let the pumpkins fall out, right? You can't go wrong with pumpkins. Lanterns, as always, are key for the exterior. You can do it on battery operated so they can come on at certain times. We've talked about that in the past. And then some signage and just kind of, again, turning crates. I'm a big fan of crates.
Me too.
We know that like people love hay, right? We like crates because you can use those anywhere. You can reuse them for different seasons, for different holidays. So we do crates instead of hay, but hay's great too. It works just the same. And I think that covers it. Layer your rugs and add a wreath and you'll be good to go.
Very nice. Well, we all know social media can be filled with false information, and it's why you should stick to reputable sources like 3 News. Anyway, in an attempt to protest misinformation and hate speech, celebrities like Kim Kardashian froze their Instagram and Facebook accounts today. She posted yesterday on her Instagram about it, and it's all part of the Stop Hate for Profit campaign. That's a coalition for civil rights groups that led a month-long advertising boycott against Facebook in July following the death of George Floyd. More than 1,200 companies joined that boycott.
I feel like it's going to take a whole lot more than celebrities leaving social media platforms for 24 hours.
I mean, the freeze was
to get rid of the misinformation.
Yeah, it was only for one solid day. However, the coalition plans to share stories all week showing how Facebook is involved in inciting violence, racism, hate, and electoral disinformation. So I understand why they're doing it, but I agree with you. It's going to take a whole lot more than a couple of celebrities going silent for 24 hours.
While we're on the subject, we were just talking about a documentary that you watched last night on social media, and you recommended highly. What's it called?
The Social Interaction.
Social Interaction.
Mind-blowing to talk about the psychology of social media and how they get you to click on things and stay on it longer. And it's just, it kind of sucks you in and you understand why we're addicted to all the social. It just makes complete sense. And I want to delete everything, but I'm happy to admit that I know I'm addicted and I probably won't.
I'm addicted. I'm aware I'm addicted. I'm also, I'm trying to wean off as much as I can because I sometimes find myself just losing minutes and then hours.
I get home, I pull in my parking spot and I look down at my phone and boop, 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's insane. It really is. But to your point, these platforms were designed to hook us.
Absolutely.
Mission
100%.
accomplished. Mission accomplished. Okay, still ahead on What's New, we're going to tell you all about Trooper and the search to find him. If you love dogs, and who doesn't, this is a must-see story.
Then on What Matters Most at 6 o'clock, 88 counties in 88 days, the tough decision made by Wittenberg Athletics to shut down the entire sports season.
I don't know. Yeah. Hi, Al. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Yeah. What do you do?
What? I thought I turned it on. Wow, hello. Thank you. Mic check. Because we love to leave you with a smile. That's right. That's so right. That's how I get to be up here. What? Oh, I was a little.
Hey, yeah, I got you, Al. How's it going? Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got a little bit of haze left in the atmosphere, but not tomorrow. Yep. Okay.
Well, here at What's New, we love to leave you with a smile. So, with that in mind, it's time for our Show Us Something Good. Tonight, we have a sweet survival story out of the destructive wildfires. Sheriff deputies in Butte County, California, found a puppy hiding in the debris. After they found him, he was treated for minor burns, but as you can tell by this picture, he's doing just fine now. Deputies thought about it for a while and then came up with a very fitting name. He's now Trooper. After a little police work, deputies tracked down the owner, and now Trooper and owner are reunited.
Aww.
Incredible. Just an incredible
Resilient little
survival
puppy
story.
there. Love that.
All right, we're out of time. We're back tomorrow at 5. We certainly hope you join us then.
Appreciate it. And what matters most with Russ and Laura? That starts right now.
Now at 6, no good, no fun. News today that the IX Center is closing. But could there be hope? What this means for the future of the historic building and land. Also, developing now.
We just got a heads up that we have a 6th grade student who attends the School of Innovation who is COVID positive.
A Northeast Ohio school moves more than 70 students to remote learning because of a case of coronavirus. One-on-one.
You know, I enjoyed Ohio. I enjoyed there's a certain warmth about the people who live in Ohio, and I found that certainly in 6 years in Columbus. I'm finding it again here in Cleveland. I'm glad to be back in Ohio.
I speak with a new bishop, Edward Malesic, on coming to Cleveland, advice from his predecessor, and some of his biggest challenges in his new job. And taking the field. The Big Ten announces it will play a fall season after all. Jim Donovan breaks down how this will work in the world of COVID-19.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
And good evening, I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Laura Queso. Stunning news tonight. The IX Center, as we know it, is closing at the end of the year. You can blame the pandemic for this one. The IX Center has been around for 35 years, bringing us so many events like the indoor amusement park and the Christmas Connection. As Brandon Simmons tells us, the facility's future is now up in the air.
So cool, so fun. If you're not here, you're the only one.
It's a jingle known all over Northeast Ohio. But the place that it represents could be no more, as the IX Center Corporation announced they'll be shutting down after 35 years. The company is another coronavirus casualty. The facility, known for hosting some of Northeast Ohio's most well-known events, like the Auto Show, Home and Garden Show, and IX Indoor Amusement Park, said in a press release, the global pandemic has decimated the event industry, as well as many other businesses, and has ultimately led to this decision, end quote. So where do we go from here? The IX Center Corporation leases and manages the facility. The property and the building itself are owned by the city of Cleveland, purchased back in 1999, with plans to demolish it to make room for a runway expansion at the adjacent Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Those plans never came to fruition. The 2.2 million square foot facility welcomes more than 2 million people each year, hosting trade shows, public events, even President Donald Trump back in 2018. If its closure is indeed permanent, those events would have to be held somewhere else or canceled altogether in the future. Destination Cleveland, the city's Visitors Bureau, said in a statement, Destination Cleveland wasn't aware of the decision before it was reported by local news organizations and is determining the long-term effect on our overall events offering. Now, sources told us that the city of Cleveland has been in touch with the current operators about this situation for over a month. However, when we reached out to the city today, they had no answers for what will happen in the future. Of course, there are still plenty of options. They could sell off this property, which I think is least likely to happen. They could find another person to lease it and, of course, manage its operations. Or they could go back to those airport expansion plans that we talked about from 1999, Laura.
Clearly, you asked the questions, and now we wait for more answers. What a history there. Brandon, thank you.
A developing story now from the Willoughby Eastlake School District. 75 students and 3 teachers have moved to remote learning after a student tested positive for coronavirus. Romney Smith joins us now with what she has learned. Romney, good evening.
Good evening, Russ. You know, I've spent months covering education, and we've all been holding our breath, hoping that this wouldn't happen. But here it is. The COVID-19 exposure at a school affects the entire 6th grade class at the School of Innovation. Now, that school is at 70% of its normal capacity, with 30% learning at home full time. And the superintendent tells me that the building's construction, it makes social distancing quite the challenge. The superintendent, named Steve Townsend, says the district schools were not constructed with all the extra space needed for every single person to be socially distant. Now, at the School of Innovation, kids switch classes and they work in a lot of group settings compared to a traditional classroom. But the district says they are taking steps to keep all students, faculty, and staff safe.
We're doing contact tracing to see if it impacts any other grades, and then potentially people on her bus, depending on who she was sitting next to. So we're working through that process right now.
Willoughby Eastlake Schools notified all parents about the positive COVID case on its COVID dashboard, which you can get to on the homepage. And that dashboard is relatively new, and it's so the district can be as transparent as possible with parents about exactly which schools have a COVID-19 case and if it's a student or a faculty member. School leaders say they're going to continue to use the dashboard, emails, and phone calls to get in touch with families who are impacted. And Russ, again, because that student rode the bus, we do expect that there could be more students tomorrow who are also asked to learn from home.
Hope that student is okay, but of course, not a notice that any parent wants to receive.
Right.
All right, Romney, thank you. Let's take a look at the number of COVID cases across the state today. 1,033. That's just below the 3-week average. We also had 49 deaths. That's twice what we've been averaging.
Tonight we've learned COVID-19 vaccines will be free for all Americans. The announcement, part of a detailed plan from the CDC. It calls for a vaccination campaign to start in January or possibly even later this year once a vaccine is approved. Healthcare workers, essential employees, and other vulnerable groups will get it first. Some vaccines will require 2 doses and a month apart, so tracking patients will be critical.
The problem you're going to have if it's a 2-dose vaccine and you have 3 different types of vaccine, you're not going to be able to take 1 dose and then a different second dose from a different manufacturer, right? That's not going to work. And so that's why it'll be really important to document properly. And so there's been lots of discussion around this. I don't know what the answer is yet, but it could be that Ohio gets 1 type.
While the vaccine is free, there may be administration fees passed on to the consumer.
I mean, I'm a member of the Diocese of Cleveland now. I want to get to know it. That will give me great happiness.
That is new Cleveland Bishop Edward Malesic, who sat down with me today for his first TV interview since Monday's installation. He comes to us from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. We talked about a lot of issues and began with this. First of all, welcome to Cleveland. Your thoughts so far?
Well, thank you, Russ. I feel very welcomed here by many people, and thanks for welcoming me to your program. My impression is that this is a tremendous city. I found already that there are so many people of strong faith here. I've enjoyed my time here. I've only been here for about a week and a half now.
You mentioned in your homily that when you first spoke with your predecessor, now Archbishop Perez, he said two things to you, lucky you and Cleveland rocks. What else did he tell you about this town and the people who you now represent?
You know, I think he found his 2.5 years here to be some of the most enjoyable of his priesthood. He really loved the priests here. He loved the people. He was engaged with the people, the flock, the city, the different civic leaders, as well as church leaders. He really loved his time here. You know, I'm coming from a city that I grew to love, Greensburg. And so I was a little nervous when I was appointed to Cleveland. And I said, I'm going to go to a bigger city. What's it going to be like? And he really reassured me that I would enjoy it here.
I need to ask you about that. You're coming to a diocese that is 5 times larger than the diocese you came from. What are the unique challenges associated with that?
I knew the names of all of my priests in Greensburg within 3 days. Here, there are pages and pages and pages of priests and pages and pages and pages of parishes just to learn the names of these places and the cultures of the place will take me some time. But I'm willing to do that. I'm ready to do that.
Bishop Malesic also told me we can expect him to become very involved in a hands-on way in the issues facing Cleveland and the world. In his words, quote, I come as a stranger. I hope to become a brother, end quote. We will have more at 11, including his interesting answer to Browns or Steelers. He comes to us from the Pittsburgh area. You can see that entire interview on our website and our YouTube page.
And speaking of football, a lot of happy Ohio State fans tonight. Big Ten football will play a 2020 season, and it starts next month. Jim Donovan joins us now with how this will all work. Hi, Jim. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it really is, Laura, because back on August 11th, it was a very dark day. That's the day that Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren came out and said, we will not have football coming up this season. Shocking, really, when you think about it. But it's back, and it took a real campaign to do so. And finally, with a lot of pressure, and the head university in all of this was Ohio State, the university presidents in the Big Ten voted unanimously to let's bring the football season back. Now the specifics. It will start up on September 23rd and 24th. It's a Friday and a Saturday. We should have a new Big Ten schedule coming out by the end of the week. The season will be 9 games in length. The 9th game will be a championship weekend game, and that will be the number 1 team in the East playing the number 1 team in the Western Division. That will be the Big Ten championship game. All of the other schools who don't qualify for the Big Ten championship game would play off against each other, and that, of course, will give them 9 games too. So Ohio State with a really great team. That's the forecast. They're very happy today.
Things evolve, science evolved. We learned a lot. The emergence of rapid testing was critical. But what's really critical was the structure we set up. We set up the medical task force with representatives from all the schools to collaborate and talk about how might we return to play.
But you know, Laura, there was also a lot of peer pressure, too. Ohio State, as part of the Big Ten felt that all of the other conferences, once Ohio State and the Big Ten were not going to play football this fall, they felt really the other conferences would follow. And other than the Pac-12, they did not. And so the Big Ten is back in business coming up in September.
And I know a lot of people have been wanting this. We've been covering that for quite some time. All right, Jim, thanks. We'll see you later in sports.
Coming up tonight, 88 counties in 88 days takes us to a campus where student athletes share stories of life without competition.
Plus, hurricane havoc, the dangerous wind and rain pummeling the Gulf Coast. And also, Matt's in for Betsy tonight.
Well, hi there, Laura. Hi, Russ. Hi, everybody. It was a warmer day across Northeast Ohio. We made it in the 70s today. You mentioned that hurricane pummeling areas of the Gulf Coast. As that moves out, we'll bring cooler air in behind a cold front as well. We've got all sorts of fall-like details in that forecast coming up.
What Matters Most is sponsored by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
Tonight's 88 counties in 88 days takes us to Clark County. That's in the west central part of the state.
It's home to the small liberal arts college, Wittenberg University, where a huge percentage of students play sports. Only now, there's no competition.
My name is Gary Williams. I'm the Vice President and Director of Athletics at Wittenberg University.
What's going on, Gary?
Everything good? Sometimes I do wish we could all be better on the same page, but I also understand why we're not. At Ohio State, it's what 1 or 2% or 3% of their whole campus population are student athletes. We have 40% that are student athletes. It's just a completely different world. Guidance changed very drastically in July. It was all revolving around testing. There became this need now to test all athletes after every competition, and whether they had symptoms or not. This community of Clark County and Springfield only has so many tests, and they're only so available. The last thing we want to do from a social responsibility is take tests away from people who really need them. Our students love being at Wittenberg. If we can provide some sense of normalcy to their athletic life for this year, that'll be icing on the cake.
When COVID hit, even on campus, it just had a different feel with like nobody here. It had like the emptiness, it like an eerie feeling. But with everybody coming back, it's bringing that excitement back and the community back to life.
Even though I knew coming into this year it wasn't going to be ideal, I was still super excited to be back on campus. The entire summer, everything was changing on a daily, even hourly basis sometimes. And then we got the call, no season. It was gut-wrenching. It was hard to hear. This was going to be our year.
We want to compete, and Wittenberg wants to compete at a national level, and we want to win. But we also need to take a step back right now and think about the bigger picture, and we just need to make sure people are safe.
There's something at large here that's just so much bigger than us, and just learning how to be creative and be optimistic in a situation that makes it very easy to be pessimistic.
To learn how to fight through and persevere, and to realize that we can come together as a community, we will have people that will remember this for their lifetimes.
And if you have a story to tell, text your ideas to 614-460-3796, and we may bring the RV to your community. Once again, that's a text, 614-460-3796.
Hurricane Sally's winds have diminished as it moves inland, but it remains a dangerous rainmaker. This is Pensacola, Florida, where 2 feet of rain fell. Roads and parking lots, you can see here, underwater. Sally made landfall near Gulf Shores, Alabama, as a Category 2 storm.
Some really rough stuff down there, certainly. But I tell you, fall, I believe, officially begins next week, but it's been picture-perfect early fall weather our way.
It has. It's really quite beautiful out. I'm not sure if it's a little too early, but I'll take it. Matt Wintz, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, I usually go by what my wife's getting on the internet, and she's already bought a bunch of pumpkins and corn stalks and stuff. So we'll be decorated this weekend if you guys want to stop by. And guys, I'll tell you what, Laura and Russ, it's going to feel like fall this weekend. This is going to be an early preview. We've got highs that are barely going to get in the 60s in spots, and we'll have lows in the 40s area wide. So buckle up for that. This is our hot spot today on the map. We were only in the mid-70s this afternoon. It was very comfortable. We had the drier air in place. You could see temperatures even at this hour still holding on to the low 70s. Temps aren't going to slide a lot this evening, and the reason why, we continue with that southerly breeze. It's brought in a lot more humidity with it. Dew points, remember, yesterday were in the 40s. That's air you can't feel. Today they're up near 60, so that begins to tap into the humid category. And the reason why is that moisture is pooling or collecting right out ahead of a cold front. You don't see a whole lot going on now. We still do have that hazy sky. It should make for another sunset with a red sun as it heads down into some of that wildfire smoke from way out west. But you can see it there on the map, just vaguely. It's a very, very minuscule front. You can see a little bit of moisture along it, but it's really going to pass without a lot of fanfare. But behind that, boy, does it churn cooler. This is literally a chunk of the polar vortex heading into areas of Canada, so way below average for them. This is going to kind of sweep by us and bring us a way below average weekend, but it's still going to be pretty manageable around here. The bigger picture, as you guys mentioned, Sally down towards the Gulf continues to produce lots and lots of rainfall. We've seen amounts of 20, even 30 inches coming out of this in the Florida Panhandle. It's starting to get some movement. This is going to stay away from us and head up towards the Carolinas before exiting out in the Atlantic Ocean. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. Let's track the timing of that front. See, temperatures tonight not quite as cool as where we've been. We're only going to drop into the upper 50s to near 60. That front comes by tomorrow morning. What you'll notice was we'll actually have clouds, not that wildfire smoke haze. We'll actually have clouds back in the forecast, and we're going to see a wind shift from the south to the north, and that will continue to usher in cooler, drier air as we head throughout the afternoon. There will be a little bit of rain with this, not really a whole lot, but those showers will be prevalent from north to south as we go through the morning and the afternoon. You can see we get some late day clearing in our northern tier of counties, but that wind is really going to pick up. Boaters on Lake Erie aren't going to have much fun with this. And look at temperatures by Friday morning back into the low 40s inland, 50s lakeshore. We've got sunshiny days setting up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday of next week. And speaking of sunshine, boy, look at the dew points and the muggy meter. We are way down into the pleasant category. Not even a drop of moisture in the air with this next air mass coming in. So the big change starts tomorrow in your Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. 65, all the better will do with clouds, some isolated showers. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we've got temps in the low 60s, Russ. It is going to be jacket weather around here with lows back into the 40s. So pretty sharp contrast over where we've been the last few months. And you're going to feel it over the next couple days.
Yeah, sunshiny days. We like it. Sounds fantastic. All right, Matt. Thanks a lot. Coming up, we're about now, 26 hours away from kickoff between the Browns and the Bengals.
And next, we'll hear from Nick Chubb about the run game.
This sports report is sponsored by the people-pleasing people at Sarah Auto Park in Akron.
Hi again, everybody. I have good news for you tonight, Big Ten football fans. After all was said and done, the Big Ten is going to play football this season. And remember, we thought it was done back on August 11th when the university presidents voted to not play the football season. But they've changed their minds. A unanimous vote now to get the football season going. And when will it happen? Well, the weekend of October 23rd and 24th. So the Buckeyes will be back on the field, and the schedule should be announced by the end of the week. The season will be 9 games in total, culminating in the Big Ten championship game, and we expect the Buckeyes to be in that on December 19th. Ohio State led the push to make this happen, and specifically their head coach Ryan Day.
When things go well, go enjoy it and go get all you can get. I mean, enjoy it, go get it all. But when things aren't going very well, you just hang on. And you just manage through it, and you hang on, and you trust the people that you're around. Because eventually, it's going to turn, and it's going to start going back up. And that's all we were doing. We were just hanging on.
Hey, I got to tell you, that's a win for him. He's 1-0 already on the season. And hopefully the Browns will get their first win coming up tomorrow night. They need it, okay, against the Bengals. Cross your fingers, all right? Especially after the way they played Sunday against Baltimore. And so you ask, why did they not run the ball more? And I'm with you in that group. Why did Nick Chubb only have 10 carries in the game? Chubb needs to carry the ball at least 20 times in the game for the Browns to win, and they need to do that tomorrow.
I think we all know we can run the ball. You know, it's just we kind of got away from it in the game. So, I mean, running ball has never been a problem for us here. We just got to, kind of stick to it to get in a rhythm. And, yeah, I mean, we know we can run the ball, so we just got to, get better at other things.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame has come out with 130 nominees for their class of 2021. Some names of interest. The great Ernest Biner, who had great years with the Browns in 2 different stints, and then went to the Washington Redskins and won a Super Bowl with them. He's on the list as a nominee. Other Browns on that list, along with Biner, the great Cribbs, Josh Cribbs, who's making it in as a Browns legend this year. Clay Matthews, we have to push him over the goal line and get him his gold jacket. And then Eric Metcalf, also on the list too. Good luck to them all. Well, it's getting critical for the Indians right now. They're in Chicago again tonight to play the Cubs. The Cubs did not hit to win the game last night. They got hit and won the game. Do you get what I'm saying? They literally got hit on back-to-back batters by Nick Whitgren. He hit Contreras there, then hit the next man up, Mayburn, in there, and that was it. They ended up losing the game after Francisco Lindor had dramatically tied the game in the top of the 9th inning. So the Indians lose 6-5. If you're counting, they've lost 7 in a row. So tonight, they'll try again. Aaron Civale on the mound for the Indians against the great John Lester, or as they say back in Boston when he was with the Red Sox, John Lester. What a good pitcher he is. Hopefully he's not that good tonight. And that's sports. We'll see you at 7. Here's Russ and Laura.
Laura, do you want to add to that? Good shout out, anything like that?
I can't follow, but that was good. I love those A's. It just reminds me of home. Thanks, Jim.
Wow, that is something. All right, thank you very much. Good shout out. Did I say that okay? Boston native Laura Queso?
That was wonderful.
All right.
Rocked it.
All right, thanks. Jimmy and Sarah back at 7 o'clock for Front Row.
And as always, NBC Nightly News is just minutes away. Have a wicked good night.